Lauren Spillman, and today I'm going to be talking to you about legalizing cannabis for medical and recreational use. I am also going to talk briefly about the history of hemp and the story behind its criminalization or lack thereof. I recently gave a very similar speech that purely gave information, but this time around, I'd really like to just express my opinion on the subject and hopefully open some eyes in regards to the legalization. Currently, almost half the states have already legalized marijuana in some form. 25 total, 21 have legalized for medical. Those states are California, Nevada, Hawaii, Arizona, New Mexico, Montana, Minnesota, Illinois, Louisiana, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. So all 21 of those states have legalized it for medical use. 4 states have legalized for recreational as well. So we have Washington, Oregon, Alaska, Colorado. Washington, D.C. also has legalized for recreational use as well. So that's in there too. Um, there are a lot of organizations that are working towards getting marijuana or cannabis legalized, whether for medical or recreational use. One of those is NORML. It's NORML. It's a group that's been working towards legalizing since 1970. It's one group among many that's working hard to help get it on the ballots. They work with the states and lawyers as well as normal everyday people regarding their rights. So right now, marijuana prohibition causes really more harm than good. The U.S. prison population is 6 times as high as most Western European nations. So we have a lot of people in prison. We're second to Russia. So, I mean, that's really high. There are needless arrests of hundreds of thousands of otherwise law-abiding citizens every year. So, for example, in 2012, 749,000 people were arrested for marijuana-related offenses alone. 749,000 people. So just think about that. That's in 1 year. Just 1 year. And really mull that over. Think about how much this is also costing the taxpayers. So that's you, me, our families paying for a really overpopulated prison system. This is not the only reason we should vote to legalize. It has been shown to have great medicinal uses. So marijuana has shown to treat pain, nausea, vomiting, help with cancer and AIDS symptoms, among many others. And this is without the harsh effects that other drugs used to treat them have. So one good example would be somebody who has cancer goes in for chemotherapy, really makes them sick. I don't know if cancer has touched your lives, but it has touched mine. And chemo and radiation, it's a terrible process to go through, whether it's you or watching one of your family members go through it. This has been said to really help a lot of those symptoms. So specifically with the nausea and the pain, anything that can help your quality of life while you're going through something like that, to me, is definitely a plus. So that's something to think about when it's time to vote on this. Okay. I've also looked at many articles related to how marijuana became illegal, and there's really no clear-cut reason as to why medical marijuana was ever criminalized. So there's speculation in regards to the pharmaceutical companies and their greed. Of course, they're pushing their products, so they want to take, the marijuana aspect away because they can't control it and they're not making any money off of it. So they really pushed to get that put on the poison list, and eventually it did become criminalized. Uh, Another reason, or from what I could find, was that Mexican immigrants were bringing it over, and that turned it into a race issue. So that was a big one as well. But again, neither of those are really good reasons. That's just the only thing I could find when it came to the history. But if we look really far back, um, like on here, the use of hemp dates back to pre 1850 in the colonies, including George Washington. I mean, colonists used to be required to grow hemp so that they could export it for fiber. So think about that compared to now. I mean, that was a lot. People had to grow, if my mind serving me well, it was 100 plants per family. They had to cultivate those and export that for fiber. Now, if your family gets caught growing hemp, you're going to jail, at least in most states. So definitely something that we really want to look at. This issue has come up numerous times in history, and for some reason always seems to get caught in red tape and then swept to the side. I don't know if it's a governmental thing or what really happens. Somebody somewhere does not want that to get pushed through, and it's really our time to stand up and say whether we believe it should be legalized or not. Um, Based on my research and the few facts that I went over with you, I do believe we should follow suit with states that have legalized. What if you or someone you know needed something to change their quality of life besides the harsh drugs and chemicals? What would you do? I hope I gave you some interesting facts to think over and maybe persuaded you to think about things a little different. Definitely do your research. There's a lot I've learned that I didn't know before, and it has created my opinion in the fact that we should vote to have it legalized. I really appreciate you listening. Have a great evening.